All right, good evening, everybody. I said good evening. Fantastic. I can still see some people are deciding that whether to say good evening or not to say good evening. And I keep saying, few things don't come very easily because they are not part of the culture. You know. So as Indians, we are not very open to exchange pleasantries. We are not very vocal about conveying our enthusiasm. We are shying. But when it comes to argument, we are very fast on arguing, you know. So few things in the culture. Let's try to change the culture because all of you have decided to invest the time today to invest your time on your own health, your well-being. So it will be a good idea to start the evening by saying a very warm good evening one more time. So good evening. Good evening. Fantastic. Thank you very much. May I request all of you to please stand up for the national anthem. Thank you very much. Sorry for this technical hitch at the last minute. All right, we go on to it. Thank you. Just put on the presentation. So first of all, a very warm good evening one more time to all of you. Indeed, it's a pleasure to welcome all of you. And the fact that you have decided to invest this time for your own health and well-being, and what better way to welcome your own self with a big round of applause because of the commitment that you demonstrated today. So absolutely outstanding. Needless to mention, the body needs three things. Body needs water, body needs oxygen, and body needs food, right? Now, for the proper functioning of the body, I'm sure there are veterans here who talk about it, but whatever little I could understand in my last 50 years of my life, for the proper functioning of the body, you need the metabolism, right? And the body only knows how to heal. That's a gift of the God. Body doesn't understand anything else other than healing. And therefore, the first thing that you need for proper healing all the time is high quality oxygen. Now, if you need high quality oxygen, then you can go to Lodi Garden, which comes free of cost. If you need a paid pure oxygen, then you need to fall sick and then go to the hospital, right? Because then you get absolutely pure, but you have to pay for it, right? And that's very expensive. Now, I'm sure many of you must have read there's also new development happening in the world where water is being infused with extra oxygen. Because water, actually the formula water is H2O, and therefore water combined with extra oxygen is the way of life, and Japan, in America, and the entire Europe, there's a new water that is being launched for drinking purpose. Let me take a small quiz before we proceed further. And I'm sure there's no correct answer, but I'll give you a correct answer today. How much water we must drink on a daily basis? 3 liters? 8 glasses? All right. If I ask you what is the capacity of your fuel tank in the car, you'll give me precise answer. If I ask you what is the engine capacity of your car, you'll give me precise answer. If I ask you how much is the square feet of your home, you will tell me exact square feet that is there. So let's get this right once for all, okay? The exact quantity of water that you require is 1 liter of water per 20 kg of body weight. Is a standard formula. So whatever is your current body weight is the water you must drink on a daily basis. That's minimum. And the reason the water is required is because water is a very, very essential part of the healing process and the health that we talk about it. And therefore, it's a pleasure today to welcome all of you on behalf of Quantum Institute for Wellbeing. All of you are aware of the fact that today it also happens to be the birthday of the wonderful founder, director of the Quantum Institute for Wellbeing. And what a pleasure for me to be here and welcome none other than Tony Singh with a lot of love. If you really love him, I don't know all of us love him so much, but today the love need to be conveyed by the round of applause when I invite him here. So with a round of applause, let's welcome Tony.
Thank you very much. I'm absolutely, overwhelmed by the love that I've received from this community. And I'm grateful that you are all here today to share my birthday, the birthday of Quantum Institute for Wellbeing, because this is where it started on my 60th birthday, where I called all my friends and I asked them, this is the idea I have, what do you think about it? Do you think it's a good idea? Hands up, 100% hands up. I said, will you support it? 100% hands up. That's how this institute started, right? So thank you for being here. Namaskar, Salam Alaikum, Om Shanti, and good evening. Welcome to TQIW's annual community meeting. Yeah, thank you for being here because it's such a pleasure to see such an august gathering in this room. I know most of you, almost most of you, and I tell you this is a very, very powerful group of people who are here today. You must be wondering why we are focusing on nutrition today. Yeah, this is because health trends are deteriorating at a rapid pace and nutrition offers an effective therapy with quick and sustainable results. Yeah, it's low-hanging fruit, quick results. Yeah, and you will hear a lot of speakers tell you about personal experiences, how they have been able to do that. And we have lined up today for you a lot of knowledge so that you can take away insightful perspectives on how to benefit from the right nutrition. And because your body is what you eat and what you also digest. Can I move this over? Yeah. So a lot of people ask me, you know, what is this TQIW all about? Yeah. The fundamental idea here is to get a number of experts to work together and share what they know and learn what they don't know so that collectively we can do a better job than what we are doing today. Simple. Yeah. And the human body is the most complex organism in the world, and one lifetime is not enough for an individual to learn everything about this complexity. The only chance we have is to pool our knowledge and resources for a better outcome. Yeah? And practitioners need patience, and patients need practitioners for this idea to work. And that's why we have a community of half and half to come together so that we can begin to synergize each other. Therefore, TQIW's, sorry, what's happened? Yeah. Yeah, therefore TQIW is an intentional community of seekers in search of a holistic and integrated approach for personal well-being. Yeah, the community comprises of doctors and practitioners in the quest of improving their healing therapies on the one hand, and we call them solitaires in our system. We are always looking for solitaires, yeah, and trying to, you know, find solitaires the best we can find in the world and bring them to this community. And on the other hand, we're looking for individuals who want to pursue holistic well-being practices, and we call them gems. So we're collecting gems and solitaires, you know, item by item, because this is a bunch of people you have to put together who can really deal with it with passion and from the heart. Intentional communities right around the world is the new emerging social structure that will efficiently function in the future and will replace the page three party, you know, circuits and the transaction-based temporary relationships at present. You know, now you go to parties, people don't even have eye contact. They're just transacting, you know, to meet that person, you know, tuck, 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 and game's over. Yeah, and communities are bound by a common interest where members can benefit by contributing and receiving with each other, and can tap into the collective wisdom and emotional strength of the community and provide for meaningful relationship that will stabilize the future of its member in this era of very rapid change. This rapid change that's happening all around us is actually, disconnecting people, with reality. And, what is emerging now is that if you're part of a network, and that's why Facebook and all that is having great success, right? But it's a very superficial level. You need human contact, you need human interaction, you need to be able to share, your issues and get, emotional support, get the right advice. So be prepared, for change in your circle of friends and your relationships, because you will gradually move, from transaction-based, kind of relationships to relationships which are more meaningful in life for you. Fewer friends, deeper relationship where you can get knowledge. People are looking for experiences. They're no longer looking, for just interaction. And here is, here is an example of the Konohana family in Japan. A well-grounded, happy community and one of our best network partners. Some of you have already been there to see them, and they have been to visit us in India, and you have met them. And it's a wonderful demonstration of how this synergy in a community, works along the lines I'm trying to illustrate. So the intention is to bring solitaires together and dissolve the boundaries that separate the different domains. So there is a bigger toolbox that's available to practitioners and more therapy options for clients, leading to better results at lower costs eventually. Yeah. So right now, we have these verticals with very strong lines. They don't talk to each other. Some of them don't even recognize each other. And quite frankly, that is because people are, conditioned to look at things like that. We call these in the corporate world silos, so we have a lot of these silos in place. And what we are trying to do is trying to dissolve these silos. That's a simple thing we are trying to do, so that you have a bigger toolbox for practitioners, more therapy options for clients, and better results. Yeah. And for example, I'd really be delighted to see somebody like Dr. Harit Chaturvedi, who's head of oncology for Max Healthcare, to join Raman Kapoor, who's an allopath, who specialized in acupuncture, to work together in the best interest of the client. Yeah? And those discussions have already begun to happen as a result of our meeting on cancer in May. Yeah? So a lot of activity is already happening in this community. Some of them are present here, some of them are not present here, some of them are already in Skype, and some are traveling, but there is a lot of action that's already in play here, where people are beginning to talk and open the doors. We also have in the room today Dr. Sunil Joshi, an expert in marma therapy, who can, for example, add, value to this toolbox that we are envisaging. So all this is beginning to happen. New things are coming to the table, and perspectives are getting wider. People are opening the mind to listen to alternative things that are happening. Consciousness is changing around the world because of circumstances, that are obvious to many of us. So this will, begin to provide the doorway, for greater integration as people begin to get this idea and consciousness going. This change will happen slowly because it requires education, intervention, interaction, evidence, conviction, and resetting individual belief systems. This is not an easy job. Yeah? And there's plenty of opportunity to discover and practice authentic truth based on natural laws and principles. And when you're on the route of authenticity and you've got your facts right, things automatically begin to fall in place, because good stuff always comes shining through. Yeah. And therefore, just to give you a glimpse, the prescriptions of the future will be very different than the prescriptions of the past. This is a hypothetical view of a prescription of the future, where your doctor or your therapist or your group of people who are advising you on integrated well-being will suggest to you at the body, mind, and spirit level interventions that can help you with your well-being. Yeah, and you'll get a better perspective on this issue a little later in the presentations, because you'll begin to see the complexity and how things which happen in the body can't even be analyzed or diagnosed today, because people don't have the holistic understanding of the whole picture. Yeah. So we have over 100 members today, and our focus is on quality and not numbers. We are knowledge, learning, and sharing platform, and we mimic a nonprofit. I hope all of you in this room will consider taking the full benefit that this institute has to offer, since all of you are my close friends and associates, and I would like you to be conscious of the good practices that will keep you safe and healthy in the times of today. Today we have 3 members from overseas who are here as part of the institute. Mitch Abrams is a radiologist, from Canada, who is now combining medicine and art to foster healthy, thriving communities. So this is the kind of change that's taking place in the world, and you have, him here that you can catch up over, dinner. He's a fully qualified doctor who is walking this path now. We also have Linda Gregario, a Reiki master who blends spiritual energy work with leadership programs to help people reach their greatest potential. And we have Francette Perriet from France, who's an extraordinary seeker and has widely traveled and experienced a vast number of therapies and is quite, knowledgeable about so many therapies that she has personally experienced. Can I ask the 3 of you to stand up so that our Indian friends know you, so they can catch up with you at dinner? That's the 3 of them sitting together. That's Francette, Linda, and Mitch. Thank you very much. So the Quantum Institute for Wellbeing has a very clear intentional statement. It's visible on our website. We replaced our vision statement with the intentional statement based on feedback. And the feedback was, if you want God to laugh, tell him about your plans. Okay? So, we've got a little shift in our thinking that we just leave it to the divine to orchestrate, and we're doing great with that belief. We would like you to have a look at our website, which gives you a very detailed and comprehensive understanding on all matters that need to be evaluated if you want to consider an association with the Institute on merit. This is about you, this is not about us. This institute is to make sure that my friends get the full benefit of my expertise in life that I can bring to the table for a higher purpose. And we are not money making. We are not, profit-oriented. We don't distribute dividends and stuff like that. You can see it. It's all on the website, and it's a community approach, and we have a governance model from A to Z. We've got very clear thinking of what we would like to move along with in terms of our fundamental principles, and the rest we're going to leave to God. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank Gaurav Sharma and his team at Ampersand Design, who helped us in launching this new website. Gaurav, are you here? Okay, he's busy. Gaurav and his team worked really very hard to put this site in place, and we have created quite an interesting site. We broke some paradigms in what websites are generally designed to make it very clear on page 1, what this game is all about. So you can see, the 5 legs to this game, right? And you can see it there. Please have a look at the website if this interests you. There is a lot of very interesting stuff there that is useful for all of us. We are very fortunate to have a very large number of our friends and family and well-wishers and associates who have helped us grow, and I'm grateful to all of you for your support. Magic continues to happen every day, and we receive help, guidance, and resources from the universe. We have now a track record of this that is happening, that our belief in this area is extremely well-grounded. And we do believe that if we remain on the path of authenticity to serve humanity, this support will come and grow in leaps and bounds. Thank you for being here with us. All of you in this room are a great source of encouragement for our institute. You're absolutely fantastic resources, and we reach out to you all the time, and you have never let us down, and we really appreciate that. I would also like to thank Sanjay Katuria, our growth partner for finance and accounting, who is responsible for our financial record keeping, compliance, and secretarial practices, because we've now grown to a level we need to make sure that we are more organized. And Sanjay, can you stand up? Are you here? Okay. And I would also like to thank Puneet Arora, our honorary CFO, and both Sanjay and Puneet are very busy these days to close out our statutory audit, which is currently on to a deadline. I'd like to thank SR Bartley Boy & Co. for continuing to be our pro bono auditors. We receive a lot of pro bono help. A lot of energy comes to us in the form of energy, not money, but energy from different people, and it's absolutely fantastic. I have a lot of personal friends in the room today, and I know that all of you are keen to know what's happening in my world. Therefore, I'm going to take the license to give you a quick family update for 2 minutes. I'm indeed pleased to have a wonderful family, and I'm very blessed, and I'm very proud of what they're accomplishing in their individual lives. Yeah. Personally, my energies are focused in building up TQIW as the main purpose of my life. I'm aspiring to a higher level of spirituality and making lifestyle changes for better well-being. I have recovered from the divine heart attack in February and back in the flow of life, but at a relaxed pace. Yeah. Catherine, my wife, is focusing on her 93-year-old mother in France, keeping alive her passion in research relating to Jain mathematics and cosmology. She is resting to regain her energies from a very busy last 6 months since our mother had to move from home to a assisted living environment. And Priyanka is following, my elder daughter, is following the rhythms of love and amongst many travels promoting musicians at sacred music festivals around the world. She has a very keen interest in Islamic prophetic medicine and would like to contribute to TQIW in this area and music therapy. She knows a lot about natural medicine. She has been a patient at a natural medicine institute in Istanbul, has had fantastic results, has done therapies there, including different natural therapies recommended in the Islamic traditions, including cupping therapy. Yeah, so real blood coming out, and detoxifying the body. She's just done that 2 weeks ago. You'll meet her. She's somewhere here in the system. You can meet her and talk to her about that. It's very effective detox methodology. And Divya started on Monday, 4th September, a one-year master's program on education and technologies. She's found her calling in life. I pushed her to become a finance person because there's nobody in our family who understood finance. And she has grown up. She's learned that and decided that she wants, her heart is in education. She's gone back to college in education, and she is doing a master's program in education and technology. She wants to learn curriculum design and innovative ways of teaching, and has found a great course that teaches this. And she had to compete very hard for a brand new course that's being set up in the university there to get this slot. And she would like to work in this field of education because that's what she enjoys doing the most. That's what she believes is herself, her higher self, connection with her higher self and her purpose in life. So she has found, a very strong connect there. So I don't want to take more time because we've got some wonderful, wonderful speakers. Yeah. And so I'm going to hand the mic back to Rajinder Sood, who's our Master of Ceremonies Extraordinary. And thank you very much for listening to me. Yeah.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to celebrate Tony's birthday at the end by cutting a small cake. It's a trick. It's a trick to hold you. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. So, as Tony said, I'm going to borrow the word of having solitaires amongst all of us today. And we are moving towards the first phase of our evening today. But before that, we spoke about water. So how much water we go to drink? 1 liter per 20 kg of water weight. Go to remember that, okay? Next time someone asks you how much water? 20 kg water weight and 1 liter of water. Let me ask another question. What are the components of a good food? How many components are there in a good food? Okay. How many fingers you have one in hand? 5. So food got to have 5 components. Number 1, carbohydrates. Number 2, fat. Number 3, protein. Number 4, vitamins and minerals. And number 5 is fiber. All right. So when all the 5 components are there in the food, then it's said it's a high quality, good nutritional food. But the question comes as, what is the definition of a good nutritional food? What is the right quantity? What's the right quantity of a good fat, bad fat? Someone is saying, stop eating yellow egg nahi khane ka hai. Someone is saying, don't eat yellow, don't eat this. Somebody is saying, don't eat groundnut oil. I don't know, we are so confused about it, all right? But today, we're going to sort out this confusion once for all. At least an attempt we're going to make together. I'm sure all of us will be extremely benefited. And with that, I'd just like to request all the 4 speakers to please come on the dais with me. First of all, Daryl D'Souza, who's come all the way from Goa. Daryl, please come. Be seated here. All right. I'm going to introduce the speakers later, but let me also take the pleasure to invite Ishi Khosla here with us. Ishi, may I request you to please step forward on the dais, please. Give a round of applause at least for all the folks who come here. Fantastic. We have Dr. Nandita Das traveling all the way from Pondicherry to be here with us today. Dr. Nandita, please come forward. And needless to mention, Dr. Pratap Chauhan here with us from Jiva Ayurveda. Actually, we're going to get a lot of knowledge and information and a lot of enlightenment and consciousness is going to go up as we complete the day. But एक बार जोरदार, जबरदस्त, दिल से जोरदार तालियां for all the four of them. All right, we have Daryl here, our first speaker today. His introduction is on the slide for all of you to read. But you know, one thing which was I got very excited and happy to know that by qualification, Daryl is an engineer. He left everything to do with engineering 17 years back and got into what I call as a life transformative, a situation in which he really has fallen sick, and so sick that he has to leave everything. But within 1 year of that decision, he not only cured himself, but today across the globe, he goes and conducts workshops on how you can heal yourself through an absolutely natural way. All right. And therefore, it's amazing to see that he talks about overall well-being and he inspires people across the globe. He's a teacher because he conducts workshops across the globe, and he's also an author. He's authored a book called Become Healthy or Extinct, right? And we have some people who have gone through the therapy of Daryl here with us, but most important is that he's taken out time to be here with all of us, all the way from Goa, and share his wisdom with us. So with that, let's welcome Daryl here on the podium here, please. Daryl, you can use the slider.
Which is
forward,
forward, this is
yeah,
forward.
forward.
Okay, my presentation.
Yes, only there.
Yes.
Just click your slide and then
Yes, yes. Oh,
mic is on.
yes. Good evening, everyone. It's wonderful to be here. Thank you, Tony, for inviting me here. And just a bit of correction, I did not give up engineering 17 years back. It happened in 2010. So I was doing natural therapies and engineering parallelly for some time. That was from 2005 onwards. I'll share a little bit of it later in my last slide, little bit of what happened to me after practicing what I'm teaching. Okay, so I will start first with an overview because I have seen now that I work as, hello, I think the mic is gone off. Yeah. Hello, yes. So I work, can people hear me? Yes. Yeah. So yeah, till they get it fixed. Okay. Okay, I think it's...
Yeah.
Hello? Yeah, I think I'll use this. Yes, as I work now as the Secretary of the World United Doctors and Healers Association, I have been in touch with, so many healers, therapists, doctors, healers, therapists, complementary medicine practitioners, and people who also practice the ancient healing sciences. And I've seen that everybody is doing a wonderful work, and they're putting the best they can from their learnings and their experience, and trying to, formulate something that is integrative in nature. And that's one of the key things that I'm doing, is trying to bring all these disciplines together. And in that effort, I've seen that the perspective that I'm going to come with up first is the overall perspective. Because I think unless we have that overall perspective about the human body, if we miss pictures, parts of that, then we are working with a half understanding. And with half understanding, you're going to have your efforts only at that level. When you have a bigger, broader understanding, then you know what are all the things that need to be considered. And then you can sit down on a table and, put things in a better way without missing anything. So for a start, I'm just going to show you the macro aspect of the human body and a little detail into what the human body is all about. So this, what I'm presenting today is all there in my book, but I'm going to bring it to your focus. And, if you want any more detail, you can always refer to the book later. And I'm talking of the human body having 7 different physical layers. And you'll find some of them familiar and maybe some you've heard of them, but you don't have working knowledge or deeper understanding about them. So when I say 7 layers, I call first as, the physical body, which all of us are most familiar with. Then the next I call it's called the endocrine body, or I call it the liquid body. Now in this, what I'm trying to explain is that the human body is much like the cosmos, having energy and matter in an unbroken stream from finer to denser vibration. So here we are starting the endocrine body. Why is it called the liquid body? Because in action, they are all hormonal secretions that interact with each other. And this is actually what is underlying the science of Ayurveda. The 5 elements of the human body, the balance of Ayurveda of Kapha, Pitta and Vayu, they come from this. This is the basis of that. So very important science, and I want to highlight it because I think it's part of the future of our integrated sciences. So I call this next as the liquid body. The third, we have heard about it, are chakras, and even written in our ancient texts, they are called whirling vortexes of air current. So you're moving from solid to liquid to what I call gaseous, and then into finer bodies, which many of us don't have a very clear understanding of. I call that the astral body and something. This is what you call the ghost body, or some of us have had out-of-body experiences. Even lighter than that is energy body, or what I call, all our emotional centers. And these are those centers where each of us knows, different kinds of emotions, where in our physical body they are emanating from. And as you go lighter, the same energy that's coming out of our body, everybody knows what the aura is around. But it's just an emanation. It's not something put from outside of the cosmos. It's something radiating out from your body, and it goes out. And if you do certain eye exercises, this is what I teach sometimes in some of my residential programs, people learn how to see this. So this is not just philosophy or something that's ancient. It's what you can experience even now if you're willing to do the kind of work it requires. Lighter than this is the etheric body. That means as energy radiates out from any source in the cosmos, as it gets further and further, it diminishes in its strength and effect. So the etheric body is something, the earlier body we see it as the Vibgaya colors, okay, violet, indigo, blue. But this are mostly seen as shades of white, lighter white, grey, and even black. And here's something that has happened to all of us, continues to happen, but we don't have an understanding of what's happening. And this is just the human body with these energy centers. But what I have explained is there is a time cycle and there is something going on with these energy centers. So from 0 to 7 years, you have what is called the root chakra, that's slowly going into maturity. And every 7 years, there's energy getting enhanced and becoming even more powerful. Now, for familiarity, we know that this 7 to 14, 13 or 14 is the age where we are all getting into puberty, right? So where the hormones are getting strong. And that's where the second energy center is, which is called Swadhisthana, or your sexual energy center. After that, another 7 years brings the maturity into your Manipur chakra, or your sense of self, who you are,
what you stand for, what you've come here to do. We start getting clear in that. And as the years go by, another 7 years, it's the heart center. We're most strong in our communication when we reach this age. And when we reach this age, that's the time when our consciousness starts moving out from our own self into what is around us, who's there, and what are we all doing together. Then we talk about society and community. And finally, at this time is when our ground center develops, that is our spiritual connect with God. And we begin to ask those questions, what is humanity doing here? What are we doing to the planet? Why is everybody here? From where did we come? What is God? We have these words early in our life, but we don't really take it up seriously to, go after it. So this, I call this, the human body, I say, is fully developed only till 50 years of age. We see physical development from 0 to 18, and that's what most of modern science is focused on that. This is totally missing. That there's a deeper energy growth that happens in the human body. So where is all of this happening? And this is what I call the human blueprint. Now these are those colors where the 7 energy centers are, and those are what I call the 7 layers of energy, and they're working all through our bodies. So for example, in the first physical body, we have all of these centers working in a certain way. In my chapter on metaphysics in the book, I have explained that each energy center is comprised of 4 components, and 2 of them are very physical, and that is, one is what's called a plexus, a bundle of nerves. Okay, you have the carotid plexus, the thyroid plexus, the cardiac plexus, solar plexus, all of those, sacral plexus. So we have a couple of components of them happening in the physical body, and then its representation in the same zones as liquid, and then in the energy. So all of these 7 energy centers, they are percolating and going through all the 7 bodies. And so we have got a matrix that I call, it's a matrix of 49. So the human body in its complexity is about 49 sections that have their own individual function and purpose. And different beings in the cosmos, they will relate mainly with certain aspects of this consciousness. For example, if you believe in angels, or you believe in people who have passed away, or you believe in other energies moving around you, they mainly look at the last end of it. They see your etheric body first, they see your auric body, because that's the energy level where they are. And then their familiarity with this is much lesser. And this is the page from my book where, 5 minutes. So I will just explain this. This chart is about how all these things are, put all together. And when there's a disturbance, I'm wondering where the pointer is. Okay. So all of these, when they work together, what they control, if there are imbalances, how you will see them happening physically, how you will see them happening emotionally, and some examples of how they can be resolved. Of course, in all our therapies, there are thousands of ways of working on this. So, popularly, where do we stand over here? Most popular belief is this, but are we, opening up to this deeper understanding? So these are the most pertinent questions we ask, and there are answers if we are willing to look and understand. So when I did my analysis of so many things that are going wrong and why is the human body falling sick, I came up with all these spaces where a lot of wrong things are happening. And when I looked at from where is this emanating, you know, we are doing these things, but we are not responsible for it. There's a lot of wrong information around the place, and so we think that is right, and that's what we follow. And I, even on the topic of food, the people who grow our food, they are not nutritionists, so they're just business people. So this is from where we get all our information. Many people are into business, but do they really know the science of what they're doing? So this is also from a chapter in my book, and I'm talking something very important. I'm just going to put a few foods here, and then I'll quickly go through one of them only to give you, how big the problem is. And here I'm saying something that is sentient means beings that have all the 5 senses that human beings have. Very important. Second thing is vertebrate, that was spinal system, and then mammals. Okay, so we fall in this category, and there's something different that we're doing from all other beings on this planet, which is we are drinking milk all of our lives, whereas there's no mammal on this planet besides human beings who are drinking milk after the age of 3 years. Right? Is something wrong with them or something wrong with us? Right? They're all living wonderful lives. They are not having any kind of sickness. They are dying of natural old age. But human beings are the only species on this planet who are dying of sickness and suffering. Okay? So they are doing something right. And so I'm comparing all this with them. None of them are eating sugar, putting it in their foods. And about wheat and rice, they do eat, but they do not eat 365 days a year, twice a day. There is a natural flow of seasons and of nature that we are not following, and we are overdoing this. And it manifests as illnesses, you will see, as acidity, excess weight gain, and also very supporting, at its lowest level, supporting illnesses like diabetes. Too much of this. So human beings are the only ones doing all of this, and I put these as the most dangerous things for the human body. I'm just playing some things that you may not have heard of, and this is all coming from milk. Of course, there are other contributors too, but milk and milk products will bring you all of this. And I'm saying this with conviction because I've seen it in my own patients right from 2005 till now. If there are people who are having these problems, and I get them off them completely, they see changes within 15 days of reversal of these things. So it's how quick it works. And since, short of time, so I'll run through. And this whole topic of nutrition can be understood in about half an hour. But if you are working with the right kind of tools, the more knowledge you have gathered from all of the world, it becomes very complex. Okay? And this is something I do in my class in half an hour on this topic. So here's a pyramid that I follow. That is my first level. Anybody comes to me, or if I want to teach the topic, first I talk about what is healthy food for human beings, for all human beings, and I knock off the other things that should not be food. Then the next is, because generally people who are sick, they come in, so we look at, for your healing phase, these are the 2 things that you should do. And then this is deeper it goes. And there is some very deep science to this last statement also, which is from where my conviction comes that at every age and time on this planet, there is a right kind of food and there's the wrong kind of food, and that changes with the ages. As the ages go from denser to lighter, the human body also goes from denser to lighter, and our foods also need to change in line with that. So we need to watch that. Here is a therapy from my book, and I'm just talking about something that you'll understand very easily. But I'll just wind up with explaining why. It's an easy thing to understand. This is what you should be doing. But the problem is when you skip something here and you start doing something here, or you don't do enough of this, then you'll have to do more of this and more of this. Many people in the world have a very good information about, where are all the superfoods in the world, where you can get them, and what you should eat, and they're spending a lot of time and money on that. But yes, yeah, they missed this point. So here's a last wind-up of my own journey for 14 years, where I started with pneumonia, then amoebiasis, then amoebic colitis, fungal growth in my intestines, and at this point I had diarrhea, IBS, third-degree piles had been operated also for that, and I was in a state where I had to leave work, sit at home, and I was almost, thinking of ending my life. That's when I came, and tried out natural therapies, and you can see an amazing reversal that has happened. And this is pretty much how I look like today, right? And here are the facts, okay? It's called biological reverse aging. Nobody will believe, that I'm 47. They always start having arguments on it. And never fallen sick since 2005, never taken a medicine, never seen a doctor. And this is what I like to give the world and people, so that's why I teach about this. And I say, we can do it if we diligently work for it. I've not said if we work hard for it, because there are many people working very hard, but on the wrong kind of information. Okay, so this is just, I am ending with a picture of my book, which I think what is going on in the world today. A lot of restructure is going on with all of our systems, and we're looking at something that's called New Earth, which is a healthier place, a place of more vibrance and, better energy and better projects. So yes, I'll end over here. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. One more time, just be seated. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sure there are many questions in the mind. In terms of one thing, certainly it stands out of the presentation. If you want to look young, 20 years younger, where to go next time? Come on. I thought you'd be excited to look young like Daryl here, but nonetheless, I'm sure, the whole idea today of this presentation from all the experts is to give you a little bit of what we say is a glimpse of the whole thing. And a detailed program on each of the topic we're going to take up in the micro event, what we call as a smaller format event. And this is absolutely basis the nomination that you'd like to have interest, come over. So, and I'm sure as we complete the evening, many other things which are creating excitement and need to know more, you'll have more discovery as we proceed forward. Let's put our hands together to welcome Ishi Khosla. She doesn't need any introduction, but one thing that stands out for her is she's a clinical nutritionist, columnist, author, entrepreneur, and researcher. She also is very tech savvy. She runs an app called theweightmonitor.com. So if you haven't downloaded the app as yet, here's an opportunity for you. It's called theweightmonitor.com, and she founded the Celiac Society of India. Spearheads the awareness about gluten-free. What are the diseases or issues related to the gluten food altogether? That's a real insight they're going to share with us. But let's put our hands together and please welcome one and all Ishi here on the podium.
Mr. Singh Tony, I call you Mr. Singh very often and he pulls me up. Mr. Rajendra Sood, the distinguished panel and the distinguished audience. I've been prepared and primed by Tony, saying that this is a very elite audience, which I can see. It's a very evolved audience, and it's indeed a pleasure to be here among all of you on a forum which is authored by Tony, and so special in being a complete paradigm shift in thinking about health and well-being. So a very happy birthday to you, Tony, and a very good evening to all of you. Thank you for having me. And I do feel that it is a bit, like Daryl just said, nutrition and food is something so vast and so large and complex. And for me to compress it in 15 minutes is really going to be a challenge. And do pardon me if I'm not able to cover many, many aspects. So I will share with you some of my learnings and insights gathered through my 20 years plus of experience and my education. So, in search of the ideal diet, that was the title we gave it. But the fact is that there is no ideal diet. It is so customized. It's so individual to each one of you, to different ethnic groups, to so many genetic differences between us. And so to oversimplify things is really you just can't do it. However, there are certain principles and there are certain basics which I would try and share with you in the next 15 minutes. And the fact is that there is so much more information than before, ever before. You didn't need a nutritionist to tell you what to eat many years ago. You just ate what you got. It was believed to be healthy and tasty. And even now, I think a lot of what you're expecting me to say you already know. Yet, things are not sorted. We have, I think, what we call information overload. And the reality is that we are living longer. The average longevity has gone up, but we are living with a burden of diseases like never before. Don't you agree with me? We are living sicker. I'm not going to get into data here, but some data actually just hurts. One person is diagnosed with cancer every 3 minutes in the US. One person dies of diabetes-related complications every 6 seconds in the world. So it's not about India alone. India has a sad statistics, the worst kind of statistics not to boast of. We are the diabetic capital of the world, we're the heart disease capital of the world, and obesity is catching up. And in some segments, it's higher than the developed world. So this is disturbing indeed. When we are becoming wiser, when we have a dietitian or a nutritionist almost in every lane today, when we read nutrients, and like the master of ceremonies just said, food is about 5 nutrients. But I think that's some of the things which we need to correct. Food is much beyond nutrients. And whether it is the burden of diseases or whether it's simple nutrition. So we have been saying and feeling guilty about the way we live because we call these lifestyle-related diseases. But let me just point a finger to our nutritional health. There's an excess of food. There is so much food. There is malnutrition. But in the segments and the strata we are talking about, there is too much food. We've had anemia prevention programs. We have been given iron in free iron to populations which are at risk, like women and children, from the 60s. No difference. Almost 60 to 70% women and children in India are anemic, and they have been for the last 2 decades, despite the programs. This is just one example. We keep blaming ourselves, we are vegetarian, therefore we have vitamin B12 deficiency. Not true. We are seeing it in everybody today. And the kind of deficiencies I see in the obese population is very, very sad. What about the land of sunshine, India? We are believed to be, I was questioned when I got my first vitamin D done, one of the initial vitamin D done in 10 years ago. And today we find almost 70 to 100% of the population, even those who go out, are out in the sun, are deficient. From the evolutionary perspective, this is very, very disturbing, which I'm going to share with you. It's a projection, but it's not a nice projection because it tells you, this is by a Yale public health expert who says that this generation, our coming generation of children, are going to have shorter lifespans than their parents. It's never happened in any generation. Truly disturbing. So where are the missing links? There are obviously missing links. We are missing points. And it's something to say that, okay, we don't eat right, we don't live right, we have burden of, many stresses, etc., etc. But no matter what you do, I think the first thing we need to understand about food is that we don't eat only for the need or for hunger. We eat for many other reasons. And this slide is just to tell you that I think each one of you would connect with this. There is no more sincere love than the love of food. Wouldn't you agree with me? So you can break it into nutrients, but I don't eat nutrients. I like my food. I eat food. It has to taste good. And I also eat when I am emotionally disturbed. I eat for comfort. I eat when I am angry, when I am lonely, when I am tired, and for many, many other reasons. Just because food is in front of me. So maybe the way we are addressing food needs to be looked at. And if we think that it's all about pleasure or comfort, or it's a lot about our emotions, and our emotions are coming from our mind, we need to rethink. Yes, they are coming from our mind, or even from, if we can say philosophically, from our heart. But actually, they are coming from somewhere else. They're coming from our gut. And that's what Tony said, how you eat food and how you digest it. So gut health has, in our system of study, emerged as a huge change in the way we look at things. It has been a part of traditional healing and Ayurvedic science, but sadly we had ignored it. And maybe some parts of food we are truly addicted to. And this is actually not philosophy. They have found that sugar, for instance, lights up the same centers in the brain, opioid centers, just like cocaine. Wheat, we just heard something about wheat, has been found to have something called gluteomorphine, which does the same thing. So maybe we are just victims. We don't have to blame ourselves for eating wrong. Maybe the food that we are eating is taking us there. I had a friend who's just flown in from Chennai this afternoon in my office. And he's had a bypass, and he's had 3 stents, and he's still addicted to biscuits. And today he tells me that I've shifted to Marie biscuit, but I still can't stop myself from having them. And I'm sure, these were his words, I am sure they add something to make you addicted. I said, no, the ingredients are like that. He said, no, I just can't stop. I know if they're not there, I won't have it, but if it's there, I can't stop myself. So yes, these are perhaps real, and in my clinical experience, if I put people off wheat or some other grains, it's not about wheat alone, so we can't oversimplify things. But it's not about wheat alone. It's about many, many grains together. And when they actually contaminate or they reintroduce wheat, they complain of cravings and a much larger appetite. So we've already discussed this, that the real brain, the second brain, is in the gut. And if there's a problem in our gut, in our digestion, we have problems. And more than 80% of the neurotransmitters are in the gut. The happy hormones, serotonin, dopamine, tryptophan, they are secreted in our gut. 2/3 of our immune system, so whether we talk of allergies, whether we talk of autoimmune problems or even cancer, if our gut is not okay, we can't deal with these. And there is a word which many, many physicians would dismiss until recently, leaky gut. The barrier function of the gut gets compromised and becomes leaky. You can see in the slide on the left are the tight junctions and on the right are the ones with gaps. And the leaky gut issue is huge, and I think it's not one single thing that is causing the leaky gut. It is infections, it's our intake of chemicals, pesticides, just aging, simply aging, and of course imbalanced diets. All of these and repeated infections can impair gut function. And what happens when this happens, the undigested food or partially digested food crosses over, and many toxins cross over to create an inflammatory reaction. And this inflammatory reaction is the reason or the starting point of almost all diseases we are talking about today. Inflammation. Everything from diabetes, obesity, from polycystic ovaries to Alzheimer's, each one of them. It's been estimated, we don't have hard data, that more than one, I think this is an underestimate, 1/3 people suffering from chronic degenerative diseases are gluten sensitive. And what happens? You get a bloat. You get inflammation. Inflammation is accompanied by, when you get a blow or a hurt, what happens? You have water. There is water retention. And so if you stand on the scale overnight, you can read this, I'm not reading it for you, but it's a fact. You can actually gain just a kg overnight by eating something wrong, which was only about 100 calories. It takes 7,000 calories to make a kg of body fat. That doesn't happen. You haven't eaten that much. So here is the typical belly, which we develop thanks to inflammation and our gut, or as we call a leaky gut. And I'm not getting into the details of this, but simply the fact that we start getting excess fat inside called the visceral fat, and this is a dangerous fat. It's not about your weight alone, it's about your waist. And because of the high correlation of abdominal fat with disease, the cutoffs for our population, which is our Asian population, is less than 90 centimeters for men and less than 80 centimeters for women. So do go home and measure yourself and see where you stand. So the solutions. I will just try and wind up in the next few minutes. Simple, half plate rule. Ensure that at least half your day's food comes from vegetables, and among the vegetables, at least half should be uncooked or raw if possible, and if you cannot digest them, substitute fruits. Balance, the other food groups can be divided in the rest of the proportions. So my take on this is that to increase your intake of vegetables, simply make one meal of the day just vegetables. Don't pair it with anything else. So you can have your salads and your soups and your fruits. Dedicate one meal just to vegetables. And try and do as basic as a carrot and a cucumber every day. Try and have 100 grams minimum of dark green leafy vegetables every day. Try and have one lime or few amlas on a daily basis. One seasonal fruit. Just do that much and you will achieve this. About carbohydrates, to reduce belly fat, we need to cut back on fats. We need to cut on carbohydrates, on cereals. And we need to substitute with these vegetables. You can substitute your carbs, so-called carbs, with even dals and pulses and lentils. And I think this is just a slide to tell you that we need to also add. So we need to add plant food, of course, from vegetables and fruits, but we have a wealth of phytonutrients in our spices and our herbs and in our oils. So use cold pressed oils as far as possible. Use extra virgin olive oil, sesame oil, virgin coconut oil, mustard oil, turmeric, ginger. A lot of this is available today at just a click away. Don't want to spend too much time. Probiotics. Probiotics is about gut flora. So when you injure your gut, all the inflammation is mediated through the good and bad bacteria, the imbalance of good and bad bacteria. So good bacteria, just one single course of an antibiotic can wipe out the entire flora. So please look at having good probiotics and all the brightly colored vegetables and fruits. Some supportive tips: limit salt, caffeine, alcohol, hydrate well. We've already begun on hydration. Chew well. Timing is critical. To beat belly fat, it's important that to not eat your grains after 7 o'clock. And this actually is even in our Ayurvedic texts. I have read it. For a man who wants to live longer, for the man who wants to has digestive problems, grains should be finished by 7 o'clock. And follow an active lifestyle. Practice yoga. And just to sum up, trim belly fat, address gut health, address nutritional deficiencies. Simply having low levels of certain nutrients like magnesium and vitamin D and calcium can make you more prone to inflammation. Listen to your body and look out for food sensitivities, and we can all do that if we take out the right food and add the right food, the wrong food and take out the. So when you add and you remove the undesirable food, don't be grain centric and be sugar wise. And on that note, I really believe this: you are what you eat. We can train our palate. I see it with my patients every day, and some of them will talk about it. What matters is how much you eat, when you eat, and how you eat, and establish a healthy relationship with food. Treat your body like a temple, and this is a bit of philosophy, but it's real. Harmonize your body, mind, and spirit to achieve optimum balance in life. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you very much one more time. The question that leaves my mind, and I'm sure many of your minds, is then what should we eat? And then the question comes in, and that left a strong message that, Ishi just said, and Sister Shivani, who's present here amongst us, she also reminded us that, food should have been served before 7. So, and then at TQIW we are serving food after 7. So that's not a good thing. We're going to change this, Tony. All right. And next event.
We'll save the money next time. Eat and go.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So you know what to do. What to do to reduce your waist. What you were supposed to do. To look younger. What you're supposed to do. Now let's understand, if any one of you are having diabetics and your friends and relatives have, where to send them? And it's diabetics reversible, not reversible, is a big question in the mind. But what a pleasure to have with us, amongst all of us today, a solitaire, real solitaire, Dr. Nandita Shah, who's traveled all the way from Pondicherry, Auroville. She's a homeopathic doctor for last 36 years' time. She's known to be, curing patients and reversing diabetics. And for the last couple of years now, she stopped giving even the small homeopathic pills, and she treats her patient only by correcting the food habits. All right. And most important, I think it's very prestigious for us to have her. She's the winner of the Nari Shakti Award 2016 from the President of India. So what a pleasure to have Dr. Nandita. Give a round of applause, a thunderous round of applause, and let's welcome her. The new presentation, so you can check this.
Good evening, everybody. I'm so happy to be with all of you, and thank you all for coming. Today I've been given a topic, nutrition as a therapy in the practice of reversing diabetes. And I want to give you a little idea about what I do and why I've been given this topic. Anyway, as he said, I started out as a homeopath. Actually, I got admission in an allopathic college, but I decided that I want to treat with homeopathy because homeopathy connects mind and body and doesn't put a lot of chemical load on the patients. But as I treated with homeopathy, I found that people would come back after 3 weeks or 3 months or even 3 years with the same problem. And I started realizing something that maybe all of you already realize, that medicine never cures. Only the body heals. And I started looking into this a little deeper, and I believe that when you get, we are all here to learn something on this planet. And we're given gifts so that we can learn it. And one of the gifts I got was an acute complete body paralysis called Guillain-Barré. It's an autoimmune disease. And when I got Guillain-Barré, being a doctor, I realized what it was, and I decided, against all other doctor friends and everyone else, to treat myself at home without the use of any medicines. Because I didn't want to put immunoglobulins or steroids, which were the therapy at that time, in my body. Now remember, I was completely paralyzed. That means I couldn't even turn in the bed. And this all happened very suddenly. That's what Guillain-Barré is about. But I continued with help to turn in the bed or to feed me or whatever bodily functions. I continued with help only at home without medicines. And so whatever I'm telling my patients today is something that I have experienced myself. And so I don't just treat diabetes, but one of the reasons why we focus on diabetes is because if you change your diet, you can see right away whether you're getting better or not, just with your glucometer. Actually, I started treating patients with diabetes long before glucometers were there. Long before people were checking HbA1c. One of my first patients was a 70-year-old man who had had diabetes for 30 years. He didn't come to me for diabetes though. He was on a number of medicines for diabetes. They were not controlling his blood sugar, and because of his diabetes, he ended up with eye complications. And that's what he came to me for. He was hoping that I would be able to help him with his eye complications with homeopathy. Anyway, to make a long story short, in some time, I convinced him to change his diet. His blood sugar, which wasn't controlled, was 222 fasting. Remember, there was no HbA1c at that time. And in 2 weeks of changing his diet, it went down to 88. Now, I'd been a doctor for so many years, and I realized that not a single one of my patients had got well this fast with any medicine I had given them. In fact, this man was on allopathy, and that wasn't controlling it either. But just changing the diet within 2 weeks, 222 down to 88, and this man started getting better. Slowly by slowly, his medicines were thrown away, and he got better and better. But the most important thing that I saw in this case was that this man had, for years, manic depressive, bipolar disorder. And when he got off all those medicines, bipolar disorder was gone. His daughter came and thanked me and said that, you know, for the first time in our lives, we have our father back. So I just don't want to say medicines never cure, but sometimes they harm. Maybe this man had bipolar disorder just because of the medicine, because when he got free of the medicines, bipolar disorder was gone. Another interesting case that I had in my very early days of treating diabetics was a 21-year-old boy who came to me. He was an Israeli boy and he had had diabetes only for 1 year, 21 years old. 3 injections of insulin per day, each time after checking his blood sugar. That means 6 pricks a day, every day. 21 years old. And so I told him, would you like to be free of all this insulin? He said, yes. But he was scared because his doctor had told him that he had to take these medicines his entire life. So I said, okay, cut your insulin to half, follow the diet, and see me again in 2 weeks. And if your blood sugar goes up, increase the insulin dose. If it goes down, decrease the insulin dose. He came back to me in 2 weeks and he said, for 3 days I had half the dose of insulin. After that, none. After that, none. For a boy, 21-year-old boy, who was going to take it for his entire life. So, can you imagine, I'm not saying that everyone gets well so quickly, but can you imagine what it must be feeling like to be free of this life sentence this quickly? So I realized that diabetes is something that changes pretty quickly if we put our mind to it. And I think that's why I was given this topic of diabetes today. So I'm just going to go ahead with, sorry. Okay. So as I said, medicines never cure, but the body always heals. How do we know that the body heals? Just imagine if you get a fracture. Can anybody on this planet help you? No. But just put the bones together, body heals. You get an injury, just put the skin together, body heals. You get fever, don't do anything, the body heals faster than if you take medicines. So we can heal our body just by doing the right things. I also learned that, oh, my slides look completely different from what I had on my computer, but anyway, it doesn't matter. When we go to a doctor and doctor gives us a diet for diabetes, what does he say? Cut down your carbohydrates, cut down your sugars. And the funny thing is that we all follow it and nobody gets better. Why do we follow it? Because everyone's doing it. We don't really think about it. Now, why does it not work? Because sugar is not the cause of diabetes. When you want to treat something, you should understand the cause and remove it. What is the cause of diabetes? Lack of insulin or insulin resistance? So we have to get to the cause of lack of insulin or insulin resistance in order to treat diabetes. And if we get there, and that's what I do today, if we get there, diabetes just disappears. So, you know, all these kind of things that we are given hardly make a difference. But if we eat, you know, nutrients are spare parts for healing. Like if your car breaks down, you want to get the best spare parts to get your car straight. If your body breaks down, you should actually look for the best nutrients in the world. And that's all I do. All the medicines out, all the therapies out, all I do is work with food. And I get results which change at the level of mind, body and spirit. So what's the magic formula? Now, magic formula is actually so simple that, you know, we can't digest simple things because we need something a little complicated to make it valuable, right? So anyway, what is the magic formula? And imagine you had a car and the car runs on, how do we know what the car runs on? We have an instruction manual and we follow the instruction manual. If the car runs on petrol, we don't put diesel in it. In the same way, if you had a cow, you would feed it grass, and if you had a lion, you would feed it meat. Would you ever reverse them? No. Why? Because the cow knows that it should eat grass, and the lion knows that it should eat meat. In cow's instruction manual is grass, that's in its instincts, and in the lion's it's meat. So what about humans? So let me just put you in touch with your instincts. Imagine you are on a farm or an orchard and you see fruits and vegetables hanging there. What do you feel like doing? Plucking and eating. This is your instinct. Now imagine if you saw a chicken walk by. Sorry about the slides, you know. Or you saw a goat or a cow. Does your mouth water? Even a dead one, right? Now whose mouth will water if they see a chicken walk by? A dog. Chicken is dog food. Whose mouth will water when they see a goat or a cow? Maybe a lion, right? So we're eating foods that are not even suitable for our species. And you know, even the best of us, if we have eaten meat, If you see it on a plate, you might instinctually get attracted. But that's because of conditioning. So as Daryl said, you know, no mammal, no animal on this planet eats another animal's milk. And we know this because every single baby, when it's first given cow's milk, it says no. But mothers push it down with sugar and cocoa, whatever you put in your milk, to push it down, because instinctually we say, no, 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 this is not our food. So if we go back to our instincts and eat foods that are suitable to human beings, we can be well. Now, manufacturers know this. If they try to sell us shampoos, soaps, personal care products, they never smell of chicken or fish. It's always fruits and flowers. So we have a 5-point plan. You know, I'm cutting this down real short. We have a 5-point plan, which is eat whole foods, eat plant-based, eat organic. Don't eat food that has been sprayed with poison so that other animals don't eat it. Other animals are smart enough not to eat it, but when we aren't, right? So don't eat poisonous food, and check your vitamin B12 and D levels, which has already been covered, and supplement it if necessary. And what are the side effects of eating this way? Weight loss, abundant energy, glowing skin, other aches and pains disappear, you feel more relaxed, you get normal lab tests. How do you access this technology with us? So we have a 21-day online diabetes reversal program. Why 21 days? Because it takes 21 days to change a habit, and 21 days, step by step, you can reverse your diabetes. This is available on our website. We also have a team of doctors that do consultations on phone and Skype, and they're very thorough, and we get amazing results. I'm going to be doing a seminar in Delhi on 11th and 12th November here in India International Center, just in another space. And that's about reversing diabetes and hypertension. So if anyone wants to know more about that, you can come for that. My book is being released, I'm so proud of that, on the 14th of November, which is World Diabetes Day, by Penguin. And we have a 21-day health retreat where we take all the lab reports at the beginning, all the lab reports at the end, cut down the medicines during the process so that people can actually see how well they feel without any medicines and see their lab reports normal. And that's the next ones are in June and September 2018. And you can see all this on our website, and I've also left an email address. And I just want to say that, you know, if you want to learn more about this just now, we have a few programs in Delhi, because I'm here, you know, I'm just taking advantage of being here. And Sunday the 10th, we have a program 2:30 to 3:30 in Select City Walk. Monday, Wednesday, India Habitat Center on the 14th, Thursday. And you can register for any of these free programs on our website. So basically, sorry, there's something going wrong here, but I'm really sorry about it. So basically, that's all I have to share with you. I just want to leave you with our website and the name Sharan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Nandita. I presume that you're carrying the book, and if people want to pick up the book, they can pick up the book in the evening today?
No, you know what I have brought is a recipe book, and if we are allowed, we'd be happy to keep it for sale.
So there are recipe books available outside. Once you close the evening, you can pick up the books, and then some of you have your calendar very tech savvy. In case you like to stick to June, 1 year advance notice, 21 days of investment, right? And if some of you are still thinking whether to reverse your diabetics or not, here's an opportunity for you. But nonetheless, let's move forward. So you heard, you know, Daryl spoke about the body, mind, soul at a big picture level. Then we had Ishi coming and talking about a little bit more micro. You heard Dr. Nandita building on from there. And let's understand one of the finest Ayurvedic doctors that I know. He doesn't need any introduction, but his name is Dr. Pratap Chauhan. Apart from everything else that he does by the brand Jiva, I'm not sure how many of you know, but the first time when I got exposed to that, Dr. Pratap and his team at Jiva runs what they call is a telemedicine, the largest telemedicine setup in the country, probably in the world. And they run 300 doctors across the country and from one center and through telemedicine, and they consult 6,000 patients every single day. All right. And apart from everything else that Dr. Chauhan has accomplished in life, he is the winner of the United Nations Geneva Award on e-health. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together to understand the Ayurveda, the whole Ayurveda perspective on the nutrition side. This one? Yes. No, this one is to go forward. And that's to do.
Thank you very much. A very good evening to all of you. It's always wonderful to be in this community. I'm actually already feeling 20 years younger. By the way, I turned 74 last week. So that was a joke. Okay. So my job is to, present something from Ayurveda. I've been traveling around the world for last 25 years, and I really am amazed to see people who get healed through different things. Like we heard, like some people have cancer, they got healed somehow, they write a book and they try to spread it to others. But does it really works for everybody? Somebody has some other disease, they heal it through something, they write a book, they make a complete program on that, but does it work for everyone? So this is where the Ayurveda thing comes. There is two things you have to understand. One is your own experience, what you have experienced, and you have designed something out of your experience. But there is something which God has designed. God has given us this knowledge. Very nice thing, Dr. Nandita was talking about the instruction manual. But where is the instruction manual for human beings? What is that manual which describes everything about humans? That's actually Ayurveda. If you read Charak Samhita, which we say the Bible of Ayurveda, this very clearly written in this that whatever exists in this world, whether it is water therapy or color therapy or spiritual therapy, whatever exists in this universe is in Charak Samhita. And whatever is not in Charak Samhita does not exist. So it's very simple. So I'm going to give you some very basic principles, because one thing you have to very clearly understand, that why something works on one end doesn't work on the other, because each one of us is unique. We're unique. Somebody, he starts eating raw food. It's very popular in the West now. They get healed. So he writes a book on raw diet. So then everybody starts following. And this confusion is coming now very much in India also. Somebody says milk is poison, somebody says milk is very good, somebody is saying wheat is not good for you. So this is, you have to look into the instruction manual. What is the instruction manual saying? So instruction manual is Ayurveda, and I'm going to start with my presentation. So I think, did I shut it down? So my main subject today will be about body types and food. But let's first try to understand what is Ayurveda. A lot of people have no idea what is Ayurveda. They think that some jadi booty or some shirodhara, which is very popular now, or this oil massage. Some people now think go to Kerala, that's Ayurveda. But the word itself tells you a lot about it. The word is made up of two words, very simple. Veda, we know, Veda means knowledge. Ayu has been defined in Charak Samhita. Sharirendriya Sattvatma Sanyoga Ayu. Very simple. What is Ayu? Ayu is a combination of four things: body, senses, mind, and soul. How many of you have a body? Please raise hand. Senses, mind, and soul. So this is very clearly a knowledge about body, mind, senses, and soul. That's why I call it an instruction manual for human beings. Like you have an instruction manual for car, for your phone, for your computer. Similarly, anything goes wrong with this system, you have to look into the manual. This knowledge should be actually taught in the schools actually. The problem is that nobody knows about it. So I have studied it, and every time when I hear lectures, like 2 wonderful lectures, 3 lectures, every time I hear some experience, I say, oh, this is Ayurveda. This is described in Ayurveda. Because Ayurveda is not only just some physical medicine, there are 3 types of treatment. Yukti Vipashara, which is the physical one, medicinal. There is Sattva Vaja, which is the psychological, emotional treatment. There is Dev Vipashara, the spiritual treatment. Nobody knows about it. So I am going to just, because my topic today is about body types only, but I am just giving a little bit wider. Even the word food, ahara, very nice word in Sanskrit. Ahara means aharyate iti ahara. Anything that goes in, it's not what you eat. It's not only carbohydrates, proteins. Whatever you watch, whatever you smell, whatever you hear is your food. This is also creating an impact. So this is how Ayurveda describes each and every word very beautifully. And everything that is described in Ayurveda has to deal with body, senses, mind and soul, which means this human system. I am not sure if you are aware of what this human comprises of. In Ayurveda, they say that the human being is comprising of 25 constituents. It's very amazing. Maybe we are not aware of some of our own constituents. There are 5 Mahabhutas, the 5 elements which many people know. There are 5 Tanmatras, which are very important actually. We know about earth, water, fire, air and space. But there are 5 Tanmatras which are really important, which we must understand. I am not going into the detail for that. 5 Gyanendriya, I think we all know that, 5 Karmendriya. Then there is the word mind, which is very popularly used now, but in Ayurveda the word mind refers to 4 things. One is Manas, your physical mind. Then there is Buddhi, your intellect, a very important part. Why people, don't eat proper? Why people, eat something which is not good for them? Because not using their Buddhi. In Ayurveda is very clearly written, Pragya Parada is the root cause of our disease. They have not described anything else. Very nicely written, misuse of intelligence. You have a heartburn, acidity, ek pentosit, after 5 minutes a cup of tea. This is like you take a shower, go out and put dust on your body. This is called Pragya Parad. Very clearly written in Charak Samhita. So, Buddhi is there. Each one of you have a Buddhi. Please use it. Try to see what your body likes. Ahankara, ego is another big issue. That's also a cause of many problems. Chitta is the real problem. Chitta is the subconscious mind, unconscious mind, where all our experiences are recorded. This is where all the traumas, emotional things, they are recorded. And that's what is causing this. There are a lot of crying babies there who need attention all the time. Samskaras we call them. And finally soul, don't forget. We are neither the mind, we are nor the bodies, we are all souls. The soul also needs food. We could be sick also because we don't feed the soul. So just an introduction so that you know what Ayurveda is. It's not only just some simple home remedies and oil massage, but it's a very, very deep science. Coming to the body, just simply explaining you, the body is 5 elements, which you all know. These 5 elements in Ayurveda, we very simply, we turned them into 3 so that it's more simple. 5 is too complicated, 3 is more easy to deal with. So we call them Vata, Pitta and Kapha. And if you can see, Vata is primarily space and air. Pitta is predominantly, fire, and Kapha is water and earth. What does it really mean? The question is, let's define them simply. Vata is that energy in your body which is responsible for movement. Anything that moves in your body is facilitated by Vata. Transportation, circulation, neurotransmission. So this is a very important energy. This has to be respected. She's doing a lot of work, she must be taken care. If you don't take care, she'll get angry. And she can cause 80 types of diseases. Similarly, Pitta is that energy which is responsible for digestion. We do talk about gut these days, gut is our second brain. Agni we say in Ayurveda. The digestive system is the most important. If your food is not digested, it gets converted into a very toxic material called ama in Ayurveda. And I always say ama is the mama, is the mother of all disease. This ama can cause, hundreds of diseases in your body. And that's what happens when you eat a lot, when you eat wrong things, when you eat after 7 o'clock or whatever. This is all going to form ama, and that will convert into a disease. Kapha is that which keeps everything together. That's the cohesive, adhesive thing, like the glue. If there is no kapha in the body, everything will fall apart. So these are three basic energies which are called vata, pitta, kapha. Good? Understand? Very simple. Ayurveda is so simple, I like it. Now, body types, people are very fascinated by this. They all want to know what is my type. This is very popular now all over the world. Everybody wants to know I am vata or pitta or kapha. What does it really mean? Each one of us is born with some fixed ratio of these three energies. Some people are born with lot of kapha, for example, and there is earth and water. They are naturally chubby. Don't try to make them skinny. Now everybody has a competition. I should be having very skinny body, especially females, They think skinny females are more beautiful. That's how some of the models. But it's not true. Somebody who is kapha is born kapha. His nature, that's his nature. He has to be like that. They gain weight just by drinking water. They can't lose weight. They try so many things. They are kapha. There's nothing wrong with that. There are people who are pitta. Kapha people, of course, they are earth, so they are a little bit slow also. If you tell them to exercise, they'll say, I start from Monday. They're a little lazy. It's not a disease, it's their nature. Pitta people, for example, they are very fiery, very dominant, very bossy. If 5 people are talking, there is one always dominating. Even if he doesn't know anything about the subject, he is talking. Because they are fiery, they have to be on the top. But they are very industrious kind of people. They do things, great things. Vata, on the other hand, if you see, they are skinny, tall, eating 6 times a day, don't gain weight at all. Skinny. 50 kilo, 45 kilo. But they are also very imaginative, very creative, but very hyper, like air, moving. Today in this community, tomorrow somewhere else, and day after tomorrow, they will be in somewhere else. You have some people like that, So that's vata. You have to understand your nature. None of them is bad. Unfortunately, you can't do anything. It's coming from your parents. When the conception takes place, your prakriti is formed. So health is maintaining this original ratio. Simple. If you can maintain this original ratio, that's health. Disease is losing this balance. How do we lose it? Of course, improper food, improper lifestyle, or some negative emotions, stress, or in one line, misusing intelligence, not using your intelligence. Because you don't know yourself. If you don't know yourself, you could be a pitta person, drinking chai, eating chilies, eating lot of hot spicy things. After a few months, you get heartburn, you get ulcer, you get cancer. That's how disease appears. So what's the rule? The basic rule in Ayurveda, similar increases, opposite decreases. So first you have to find out who you are. If you want to know, I have some questionnaire, you can get it from me, from Madhusudan after the lecture. You can try to see who you are, what type you are. Rules, qualities of vata, very simple. This is the qualities of vata. Vata is dry, rough, cold, subtle, mobile. What to do? Opposite to dry is oily. If you are a vata type person, eat something oily, moist. Fried is not bad for everybody, not for vata. Vata can also eat sweets. They can eat a nice sweet kheer. It's very good for them. It's grounding for them. Rough, opposite, smooth. Cool, warm. Some warm soup, cooked food. Subtle, heavy. You can eat something really greasy, oily. Mobile. Vata is very mobile. So you have to be grounding, meditation, sitting down, yoga. In one line, sweet, sour and salty taste is good for vata. These are the diseases, 80 types of diseases. Be careful. Vata is the mother of all the diseases, She causes many diseases. Pitta is hot, acidic, sharp, oily and sour. What to do? Simple. Simple rule is opposite. Cooling foods, watermelon, cucumbers, coconut water, Acidic, it's acidic, so alkaline is good for Pitta people. You have to eat something which is sweet, bitter and astringent. It causes 40 types of disease. All these hair loss, skin problems, eczema, psoriasis, inflammations, infections, it's all Pitta diseases. So you have to be very careful. If you have some disease like that, stop your spices, hot, fried, all those kind of foods. Kapha is heavy, stable, cold, sticky and dense. What to do? Simple. Kapha people have very limited choice. They can't really eat a lot of things. These are the people who have problem with gluten. So not everybody has a gluten problem. Not everybody has to give up wheat, because kapha is already very heavy. They need more movement, they need more exercise, they need more light things. They need spicy and clear, and in one line, pungent, bitter and astringent. Kapha causes 20 types of diseases. All these obesity, which is a big problem, diabetes, indigestion, swelling, blockages, this is all kapha problems. So in order to bring down kapha, to balance kapha, you have to do the opposite. So this is the golden rule in Ayurveda. This is all what I had to say. I think I am quite in time. So, and thank you very much.
Namaskar and Om Shanti to everybody. I've been given the difficult task of summarizing 75 minutes in 5 minutes. And I look at my Apple type and I say, I'm the best person to summarize nutrition, but I'll try my best. So thank you very much for that wisdom. As they say, Deepo Bhakshite Dhvantam, what we eat is what we are. And if you look up nutrition and the Hindi meaning, it has two important words, Pachan and Poshan. Both are important, what we eat and how we digest. And we heard all of you share various perspectives. You talked about Prakriti of food, some yoga or combination, Rashi or quantity, Kala or time, and more importantly, Bhokta. So the first message I actually took away was figure out your instruction manual. I don't know where it is. Maybe I'll ask my mom. But figuring out the big picture and the instruction manual to make sure we're able to make a choice of what's right for us. Because there is no black and white, it's all gray. Right? So figuring out the body type, whether we use the Pitta, Vata or Kapha. I was delighted to talk about Kapha, elephant, calm. So I feel a little consoled. Thank you for that. Gut is your second brain. I discovered that way back in 1997 when I came up with H. pylori or Helicobacter. And I was being treated by an allopath. Nothing happened for 6 months. Went to homeopath and he said, look, what you think is what your gut reacts. And I've seen it myself. So a strong connection between the mind and the gut. Treating your body like a temple. Therefore, whatever we say, whichever diet we want to follow, but nutrition, meditation, calmness, no regret moves, for all of us. The half plate rule, right? Vegetable, fruits, exercise. And I liked the Ishi halt, right? I was talking to somebody who said, look, when they announced demonetization, I was sitting at home and I went blank for 10 minutes. And the wife said, I kept on giving him paranthas, he kept on eating without even stopping. Right? So halt, I really appreciate halt. There are some do's and don'ts I was trying to just summarize and write. On the do's side, plant-based, whole cereals, whether it's barley or oats, cold press oils, extra virgin, olive, coconut, mustard, sesame. Organic, in fact, I'll go one step forward, Sattvic or Yogic. I met with the Konohana family in Tony's house and also when I went to Mount Abu recently, Tapovan. We do yogic farming. You actually pray, right, to the vegetables and the fruits. Amazing to see their size and the geometric shape. Nuts, sprouts, seeds, hydrate well. 1 liter for every 20 kgs. Chew well, conscious, vitamin B12 and D. On the don't side, sugar, right? Milk, which I'm very sad. There goes my cold coffee. But I was talking to Daryl and saying, "Are you sure about AS2 also is banned?" He said, "Yeah, it's banned." Wheat, the G3, as you said, Ishi, gut, girth, and gluten, the leaky gut. Processed foods, no. Meats, I love the analogy of saying, go by your intuition, right? When you see an animal, do you want to eat? Snacking, microwave food, potatoes, beverages, caffeine, alcohol. More importantly, maintaining the balance, which is so important. Thank you very much to all the panelists. A big round of applause for them.